Everybody, happy Friday. It's beautiful Friday morning in California. I hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are and that you're having a wonderful morning or afternoon or evening. And if you're watching this on video, thanks for coming back and watching us after our live has concluded. We are so excited today. I am, and I know the author is looking forward to doing this too because we've been chatting a little bit on Instant Messenger. Have you heard of this book? Because I tell you what, I heard of it through one of our fellow Instagram folks here who talks about books all the time, does videos, and is a wonderful author herself, Alana Grace. And if you're not following her, you should be, because she has great book recommendations. And one day she came up on my feed. I don't know how the gods of Instagram and algorithms work, but she just appeared on my feed one day. And I said, well, who is this wonderful person talking about books? So I started following her. And then one morning, she was talking about this book, which I'm sorry is backwards, but you know, Instagram, that's how it works. Wish Upon a Rosie. And she was just going on and on about what a great book this was and how much she likes the author and what a great gal she is. And I said, oh, I gotta go check this out. And so Jenn Sommersby writes this book under a pen name, 𝐤𝐬𝐡 𝐔𝐩𝐨𝐧. She was so gracious. She sent me an ebook to read. I loved it. I just couldn't put it down. I devoured this book. I got to tell you, I was up way too late. And I liked it so much, I immediately ordered it because I said, this has to be in my physical library. And I've been telling everybody about it. So now I'm telling you, you got to read this book. If you want to read a book that's going to make you feel better about yourself, about humanity, about the world, about the future, and you really want to see what it's like to get invested in a character. If that's not a familiar feeling for you, although if you're a solid book reader, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If you really want to root for somebody, you got to get this book because you are going to want to root for Rosie. There you are.
Did I do it?
You did it. It took me a second. It wouldn't let me invite you at first, and then it lit up, and I went, yay.
Yeah, it's doing this thing now where I can only see half the screen. So, okay, I don't know what's going on.
Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay,
Maybe this is good because I can't see me.
Believe me, that's better for me. If I can't see me, I'm much happier.
Yeah, no, that's much happier. But it's like it says to go live, and then it says decline. Should I decline this and see what happens?
No, just don't touch anything.
That's usually how I handle tech.
Well, Instagram is funky.
Yeah.
And yeah. I would do this on Zoom, except I don't know that there's a way to do it on Instagram and be on Zoom.
I don't either.
I need to find a tech person and do some research.
Yeah, this goes like right over.
Yeah, right.
I'd like when it starts to get too much. I just take my stuff to my kids and be like, "Hi, can you help me with this?"
I know, except that my kids don't like social media.
Oh, well, that's not helpful.
How did I do that? How did I get kids that go, Mom, I'm not going on Facebook?
Wow.
And they're millennials.
Well, yeah, the millennials. My millennial's all over, and she's all over social media. But my younger ones aren't. Yeah.
No. They have no interest in it, no time for it. And I'm like, well, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yes, thank you very much for having me.
It's so nice to talk to you in person.
Yes. So nice.
Sort of live.
Sort of live. It is live. We're like live. Look at I'm moving. Right? It's live. Yeah.
So, Jenn, I was talking to the folks that are watching and those that will watch the video later and kind of telling them how I found you. Through Alana.
Oh, yeah. Alana Grace. She's crazy. And I love that woman.
Well, she has such great recommendations, and I don't even know how I found her. She just showed up on my algorithm one day.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're a book nut, then that tracks because she's like all over it. Yeah. She started out actually as I'm an editor, a freelance editor. So she was my client, and then we became friends. So
I wonder.
So I worked with her on her 2 books. And actually I helped her with pretty much everything. So I did all of the cover design, the interior design, like we did an all-in package kind of thing. It was really fun because we were both learning how to do, like I'm the editor side I know how to do, but like the other stuff I was like, hey, I want to make your bookmarks and I want to make your, she's like, sure, go ahead. So it was great.
I wondered how you two got to know each other, because she spoke of you like she knew you, more than just like online.
Oh yeah, no, we know each other. We worked together for a couple of years, so.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
it
All
was
right, so
cool.
let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. Let me ask all the questions.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I'm a lawyer. You know that.
Yes, I do.
But this is not a cross-examination.
Well,
People always go, "Oh, I don't know if I want you to question me because, are you going to be nice?" I'm like, "Of course I'm nice. I'm retired. I don't do that anymore."
I don't have to prosecute you for anything.
No.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
So let's go back.
Okay.
You live in Canada.
I do live in Canada. Yes, I live in
Were
British
you
Columbia.
born in so beautiful?
It is
Were you
beautiful.
born and raised in Canada?
No, I was born in Portland, Oregon.
Oh.
And then raised around the three Western states.
So have you lived in California?
Oh yeah.
Oh, really? Which parts did you live in?
San Fernando Valley. Let me see. North Hollywood, Van Nuys, Burbank.
Okay.
Studio City was my last address.
Okay, so you did the Southern California deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a different world.
Yeah. Because aren't you in Lodi?
I'm in Lodi.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like 90 minutes inland from San Francisco and 35 miles south of Sacramento.
Nice. That's a
This
nice
is
area.
wine country. So if you like Zinfandels, we're the Zinfandel people here.
I'll just crash at your house.
Yeah, my wine closet is behind me. There's like 85 wineries in this town. It's like we're happy people because we're just winos, You
guys are just drunk all the time. Woo-hoo!
Yeah, my book club, it doesn't happen without some wine. Are you kidding?
That was my favorite part of book club, actually.
Yeah.
I hardly ever read the books.
Well, we used to call ourselves Lodi Literature and Liquor.
Oh, nice.
But we kind of stopped because we went, Okay, so how did you end up in Canada?
I married a Canadian.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. Yeah, we met in Los Angeles in the 90s, and then we moved up here in 2002.
Okay.
So, yeah, we just moved back because he's from Victoria, which is on Vancouver Island, which is off the coast. Yeah, it's pretty great.
I've been there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, his family, his sisters live there. His parents they've passed, but yeah, his three sisters are just lovely, and they all live over there with their families. But we're just outside of Vancouver, so we're in an exploding suburb. It's like the growth is unbelievable. So,
oh well, they're probably Americans that are trying to escape.
Right? I know. I wish I could just and the house, because we're just renting this house, but it's like on an acre of property, and I just come on, just bring your tents, everyone. We can just have like a commune right in the middle of the city.
If it gets much worse, I might just load up my SUV and because I'm getting a Handmaid's Tale vibes. Like go to Canada.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Anyway, okay. So when you were a kid, were you a reader?
I had very specific, so this is going to show you what a dork I am. I would go through the library and I would read the books with the apples. There was a certain publisher that they had an apple on the spine. And I just knew that whatever that publisher, I didn't even know what it was. I just liked it, like the apple. So I would read everything in that series. My first full-length novel was Little Women. Of course. I love that. I was like 6.
Yeah.
But I also I'm pretty hyper. I was really hyper as a kid. So I would start books and then not finish them. So it's like a lot of my friends was like, oh yeah, I read everything in the Nancy Drew series or the whatever. I didn't do that. I would read and I would Judy Blume, Beverly Cleary. Beverly Cleary grew up in my neighborhood, actually. Yeah, I mean, she's obviously older than I am.
Yeah.
I think she's turned 103 or something. But yeah, so I was a reader, but I was also hyper. So I wasn't like my friends who are, oh yeah, I was just all books all the time. I was usually outside roller skating or trying to break bones by climbing up trees and jumping out. I was little nuts.
Yeah. But did you hang out in the library a lot as a kid? Because I know I was always on my bike to the city library,
Yeah. The library. And also I have this thing about the Audubon field guide. I have a thing for small books. So I would check out it was orange, and I would check it out at the very first day of the school year. And I would keep it. I would just keep renewing it. It's not because the librarian was like, do you like birds? I'm like, no, I just really like this book. so nobody could get the Audubon Field Guide to North American Birds because I always had it in my backpack. I just liked having it. I mean,
I
you never
love
know. You're
that.
going to come across like a duck. You'd be like, I need to know what that duck is. So,
I love that.
so
But what
weird.
about writing now? As a kid, did you like to write? Were you one of
Yeah.
these? David Baldacci tells the story that his mother gave him a little notebook when he was a kid to start writing his stories in. I mean, did you have a little notebook that you carried around and you wrote fiction as a child? Were you like already
Yeah.
starting to do all that?
Yes. Yeah. So my older sister was born with severe cerebral palsy. And
Mm.
so her hands were like basically, they were
Oh.
completely contracted, but she had a typewriter. This is back in the 70s. So she had a sky blue Smith Corona electric typewriter, and I wasn't allowed to use it. Yeah, you have it. I wasn't allowed to use it unless I had something to say.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and being that I love to push buttons, what? Um, I pushed the buttons. And
Uh-huh.
then my first story was about a dentist. No
Oh.
idea why, but I wrote about it, face your fears or something. I was 6. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I hated it. I'm still not a fan of the dentist. Although I have a great dentist here in Canada. He's lovely. Um, yeah, so that's just kind of where it started. And I was really, um, I would jot stories down in my journals or my diaries or whatever. And I was the kid who would turn in like 25 pages when the teacher would assign a short story, and I would basically write a lot. And of
Uh-huh.
course, I didn't have any structure or anything because nobody taught me that until I
Right.
was older, right? So,
Right.
yeah, yeah. So I've always had a lot to say.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I was the one that you have to cut it down. Your essay's too long. And
Yeah.
so, of course, I was
Same.
going to be a lawyer because I was already verbose.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah. See, I tried to be a lawyer,
Oh,
but
you did?
the LSAT and I did not get along. So
Oh,
yeah, that's that. I just the logic sections that totally tracks because I still don't understand the phrase begs the question. I'm like, please don't say that to me. I don't know what the hell that means. I even look it up and
so
I'm like, I don't get it.
so did you go to college and major in English?
I did, yeah. Yeah, of
Okay.
course. Yeah. English.
Okay.
In that point, I was doing. You could do like multiple. So I was doing uh, English, but then also like women's studies
Uh-huh.
and criminal law because I was thought I was going to be a lawyer. So,
Yeah.
but that
So
didn't
now
work
we're
out.
into what, the 80s?
Yeah, 90s. Yeah, I went to school later
90s.
because
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, because I took some women's studies classes too,
yeah,
and those were fun. Those were my
yeah,
favorites.
yeah. Those
Yeah.
were cool. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that too. Started to
Okay.
light that little feminism flame that then I ignored for a while until it finally like just inferno. I'm like, I guess I'm a feminist. I should probably be fighting against all of this stuff.
I was raised by feminists that didn't know they were feminists.
Yeah. I mean, I was too. I was raised by hippies, but like, I just took kind of that detour where I was like, oh, boys, I like boys. Well, I'm going.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I did too, but my mother raised me with a feminist viewpoint that she didn't have the word for it until later when we started watching things like Phil Donahue, and then she'd go, I guess I'm a feminist.
Yeah. Right.
You
I
know?
remember. Yeah. Phil Donahue. I love that. I love that guy.
Yeah. I watched it with my mother every day and we learned all sorts of things, and that's when I figured out, oh, all right. I didn't know people didn't have mothers like that.
Yeah.
My mother's mantra was never be dependent on a man. When you grow up, never ever depend on a man for your livelihood or for your life. That
Yeah.
was drilled
My
into
mom,
me.
my mom said the same thing, but she was also married. And I'm like, I mean, like, and so that was my thing. Only I managed to get knocked up my first year of college.
Oh,
So that derailed a few things and made everything take much longer. So,
ah, yeah. That
yeah,
has a way of interrupting it.
yeah, a little bit,
Yeah.
a little
I did
bit.
that in law school.
Oh, cool.
Kid number
So,
2, um, nobody gets pregnant deliberately in the middle of law school.
yeah, no. Yeah, I certainly didn't go into my university and decide, okay, I'm going to have a baby on the year to the day that I graduated from high school. That was not part of the plan. But,
Oh, I see.
plans,
Okay.
things happen.
They
So,
do. They do. And mine wasn't for lack of trying. It was just a basic failure. And I already had one kid and a husband who worked nights and parents and a house and dogs and a commute. And I remember looking at my husband because I thought Robert was going to be an only child. And he was begging me to go have the procedure, so we wouldn't have to worry about all this. And I was dragging my feet, and then I come up pregnant, right?
Yeah.
And we just looked at each other, and he's like, "What are we gonna do?" I go, "We're gonna have 2 kids. That's what we're gonna do. So let's figure it out, buddy."
Yeah, we're having a baby. That's what we're
And
doing.
we did. And we did. And his name's Matthew, and we wouldn't trade him for anything. But
Yeah. I
anyway,
totally get that.
Yeah. So that's funny. We have a lot in common.
That's cool. Yeah, except you got to be a lawyer, and I was just too dumb to get past the law school admissions test.
Well, because I was already in the second year of a 4-year evening program with student loans, and you can't just stop. You have to pay the loans back.
Oh, yes.
So we had to figure out how we were going to do this. And I waddled through my classes in the last couple of weeks. My mother said, "Bring Robert over here. I don't want her on the road," because nobody had a cell phone yet. She was afraid I was going to have the baby on the freeway. So she would babysit Robert, and then my husband would go to school with me and sit up in the back and read NASCAR magazines and drink coffee, and he became like an extra mascot or something, you know. It was crazy, but we did it. We did it. We survived it, you know. Like,
figure it out, right?
When you're in your 30s, you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah,
you've already learned enough to know you can't just give up because you're out of your 20s when you can just flip from thing to thing, but you still have enough energy to do some of these things. You know, today I look back and go, I'd fall asleep. I can't do it.
How did I do the things that I did back in my 30s?
Right.
Yeah, because by that time I had remarried and we had 2 more kids who are now 24 and 21, and it's just like, and I was running a company full time, and and my daughter was I don't know, she's the millennial. It was just crazy. Like, it makes me tired thinking about. So now that they're old enough, I'm like, okay, get out of my way. I'm going to go do my thing now. Like, you guys are good. Everybody's alive.
Exactly. Right.
So
I get it. I totally get it. This is interesting. I had no idea we would have such common ground when I invited you. This is great. Yay. All right. So you eventually got through school, gave up on the law idea. How did you become an editor? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I've always kind of done that. Like, I was the kid in school. Like, my first business was charging my classmates to help them with their homework, because our family was the first one on the block to get an Apple IIe computer. Because of my sister's disability, the school district bought her a computer. So we had an Apple IIe before everybody else did. And so I was making like the report covers and print shop. And that's where it started. And then people were like, "Hey, can you help me with," and then, you know, I didn't write anybody's reports, I swear. What? But that was like my first business.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, and then later I just,
oh my God, that brings back memories too.
Yeah. Every job I did, I either was writing the newsletter or I was editing the newsletter. Like, I worked for an insurance company, excuse me. And I worked as a medical transcriptionist for a long time. And so I became a medical editor. And I could fight with doctors who thought they were, I mean, yes, of course, they're smarter than me. They have an MD and a PhD, but they also don't know that 𝑚yalgia paresthetica is not 𝑚yalgia parenthetica, because parentheses don't have 𝑚yalgias. That was my favorite fight ever. I'm like, a parenthesis does not have 𝑚yalgia. And the guy's like, "I have an MD, PhD, and you're just a breeder." Like, he said this to me. And I'm like, "It's 𝑚yalgia paresthetica, you idiot." Like, you went to Johns Hopkins. How do you not know that it's not about parentheses? It's about paresthesias. Anyway, yes. So that was me. I was smart for 5 minutes.
Called you a breeder?
Oh, yeah. He called me a breeder. He thought that was cool. It's all right, because you know what happened is actually he was cheating on his wife with a patient and got all kinds of creepy diseases that he would get treated by when the drug reps would come in. And then his wife found out, and she took everything, which was amazing. I was like,
that's called karma.
Go you. Yeah. So if you're watching, you know who you are. No,
when I hear these stories, you know, because I was a civil rights attorney.
Wow.
Sexual harassment. Yeah, it's my area. Oh, I would have had so much fun. But anyway, okay. See, that's when my little lawyer brain starts going.
You're like, he said what? Yeah, because I worked during my time of working with him. I was pregnant with my middle boy, my Brennan, and I was still working my ass off, but
a breeder.
Breeder. Yeah. He's like, "You can just stop typing in the middle and drop the kid and then come back to work." And I was just like, wow. I mean, that's basically what I did, but it's still like, why do you say stuff like that? Yeah, you know, rich and
your life, and he doesn't get to say that. That's Okay, I'm putting that in my list of horribles, that I yike.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so you're editing away, you're doing all these jobs, and you start writing books. At what point?
Yeah. So in 2005, I actually went back to school to get like formal training in editing, like copy editing,
Uh-huh.
proofreading, and then the whole editing process for a book from idea to finished project. And then I joined the Writer Studio, which is a program, a year long immersive program here at a university called Simon Fraser.
Oh, okay.
And so I did that program for a year, and during that time was writing. I was just experimenting because I didn't really know what I wanted to be writing. I just knew that I wanted to be writing something because I hadn't had a lot of support in my prior life from, it's get a real job. Writers are losers. Get a real
Right.
job. So, and
Yeah.
there's like a whole bunch of trauma around all that stuff too. So after my husband and I married, it was about 6 years in, and he was like, okay, I just need you to just write. So he gave me like $5,000. I applied for and enrolled in the Writer Studio. I did the program. And then during that year, I wrote a short story that eventually became a novel that I eventually sold in a 2-book deal to HarperCollins, which was awesome. But that book took, it took 6 years to come out because of editorial hellscape. So it was a lot. So,
Mm.
but it was
So,
great because I learned everything.
so is that the point at which you decided to just self-publish?
Yeah. So, sorry. So the first book, it's called Sleight, like sleight of hand.
Right.
It's a YA urban paranormal fantasy kind of thing with magic and Mesopotamian history. That book, it was taking so long, and I wasn't allowed to start working on anything else contractually because my publisher had the right of first refusal on any new projects. So I couldn't write anything as Jenn Sommersby because Jenn Sommersby was in a contract. So I started writing as Eliza Gordon.
Okay,
So
that answers another question I had, which
yeah,
was why Eliza Gordon? Okay.
yeah. So that's when Must Love Otters
Okay.
was born.
Hold it up. Must
Mhm.
love otters. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I want everybody to go buy these books. So,
This is it's super goofy and wacky. She's 13 years old this year. So, be gentle. But
okay.
yeah, so we we started, I wrote this and we published it through my literary agency. So at the time I was with Writers House, which is a really big agency in New York City. It's one of the oldest. It's awesome. Um, I'm not with them anymore, but at the time they thought, you know what, we are going to help you publish this because we want to see if this is an avenue that we want to explore for our authors to get their backlists, republished and do the self-publishing route. And I got really lucky. The marketing manager there had some incredible uh, marketing. She got some really great promos for us. So at one point we were number one in the Barnes and Noble store, like the whole store.
Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
Yeah.
But also because, and this was my mistake, I didn't jump on that momentum. I was just putting out like one Eliza Gordon book a year, just kind of, and I didn't follow Otters up with its sequel until 2 years later. So by then I had kind of lost that momentum. And in the middle, I had written what I thought was, I mean, I love it. It was called Neurotica, uh, but now it's called I Love You, Luke Pywalker. And
Okay.
it's another comedy. I was just writing all these comedies. Anyway, so there's this string of Eliza Gordon books that are coming out while I'm trying to get the stuff done with Sleight because we had an editor that took the project off track. So we had to bring in a new editor. So that took like 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was pretty much carnage. I mean, the best part about it is the editor that I worked with, the second one, his name is Jim Thomas, and he was the head of Random House Children's for a long time in the US. And that was my own personal Master of Fine Arts program. Like working with Jim was phenomenal. So, I mean, as hard as all that was, I'm so grateful because he taught me so much about being an editor too, right? Because
Huh?
yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, wow. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So then you continued on your journey.
Yeah, just kept writing
Did
because
you have like 3 series, right?
I have it. Yeah, about that. Yeah. So there's the Otter series. I have another one, Welcome to Planet Lara, which I wrote during the pandemic, which is really like, it's pretty bonkers. People say, well, what's that book about? I'm like, well, technically it's a riches to rags story because she's rich and then she has to go and be like a normal person. But it's also got like, it's got a cult in it. There's a lot of carnage. It just kind of went off the rails and did what it wanted. And I just followed along, and I had so much fun writing it. And there's people who either really like that book or they really don't. Because it's like, you're too weird. I'm like, yeah, well, hi, welcome.
Well, because when I went on your website after I heard about Wish Upon a Rosy from Alana Grace, I went, oh my God, she's got all these books. And I had no idea, you know, because I had never found you in our little corner of the internet there. So for people, it's jennsommersby.com, right?
Yeah, jennifersommersby.com is, it should. I've had some issues with my URL, but it's definitely, if you use my whole name, jennifersommersby.com. And I just streamlined everything and put it all into one website, because I had a website for Jen and a website for Eliza, and I'm like, this is expensive and a lot of work. So now I'm just back to basics. It's all there, and there's plenty of links, and and you can sign up for my newsletter.
I did. And people can go there and they can check out all of these books.
Yep.
And
all there.
Buy them and read them. Okay.
Please do
perfect.
That.
All right. So I have a question, because you just said something that triggered a really good question that everybody wants answered. If I don't ask this, people message me and go, why didn't you ask this? Are you a pantser or a plotter?
So I used to be a pantser. So I'm in the middle. I'm more what they call a discovery writer. So I will have a pretty solid idea of character and the main conflict.
Okay.
And I know where I want it to go. I know where I want it to end, usually. Okay. I have to have some framework just so I have a map. And I do a thing before I ever start writing a book, is I write like the back cover copy, so that I call it the backwards book report. When I have an idea in my head, I write it down so that I have like a North Star to follow, so that I can say, okay, this is what the book is about if I start to go off track, right? So, and it can change. It can change. But I had an editor once who required that I write an outline, and it was like a 40-page outline. So when we started revisions and rewrites, I got to page 22 and the story just took off in a different direction. So the whole thing was a waste. Because I was like, I can't force this story into that box. Sometimes things change. So
yeah, a discovery writer. Okay, now that is a new term that I just learned today.
Okay, yeah,
I've never heard that before.
I borrowed it from Joanna Penn, who is kind of a pioneer in the indie book world. She's been doing this since like 2004, and so when she started calling it discovery writing, I was like, that's exactly what I'm doing, because I'm not one of those people that can put the plot all out like that, the whole thing. I've tried it and I get bored, because I'm like, okay, I already know what this book is about. I know where it's going. I'm bored. So ADHD, baby.
I've heard other people say that they kind of do what you do, but they've never used that term. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's
cool. All right. So do you have like writing routines, habits? Like, do you have to be at a certain place with a certain desk, a certain cup for your coffee? I mean,
I have had those things. In the early days, I only would write longhand with green ink, with pens with green ink. I was just like, oh, look at me, I'm an artist. With the chaos of my house over the last 20 years, I have, like, when I wrote Slight, I wrote that book longhand in my car in a Tim Hortons parking lot, which is like Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, okay.
I would go at night from like 9 p.m. until 1 a.m. and I would write, just because and I did that for 360 nights. And that's how I got the first draft, because I was like possessed. I had to finish a whole book to prove to myself that I could. Nowadays, so I do a lot of work with the organization here called the Federation of BC Writers. Mm-hmm. And so join the Fed. It's really awesome. Even if you don't live in British Columbia, it's okay. And I run author sprints every morning. So like last year, I started my own sprint, like a writing sprint. For those who don't know, that just means an hour, however much time that all you do is work on your project. Like nobody can bug you. And I started that back in November again, so I could work on my nonfiction project, which is basically a confessional and a how-to and me just barfing out everything I've learned over the last 20 years. and I would get up every day at like 5:30, and I would just do that. And I managed to get like 140,000 words out by February, which is pretty great. Except it's so bloody big now, it has to be more than one book. Remember what we said about verbose? Anyway, so now I run with the Fed. I run the 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. sprints 5 days a week. And it's on Zoom, and people log in, and we don't chat. We chat a little bit at the beginning and a little bit at the end, but it's just this concentrated time. And I find that works best for me because I'm so busy and I have like all of these things that I'm supposed to be doing. So if I just have an hour that I tell the family, don't talk to me because I'm writing, they know. So I'm very supportive of that. I do have a lot of friends who have to be in a coffee shop, or the only music I will listen to is movie soundtracks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I can't have anything with lyrics. So if I don't have earplugs in, I'm listening to my AirPods. It's movie scores.
So it just went on in my head because of all your Superman stuff. I just heard in my head, da 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 da.
Yeah,
because I've performed that like a zillion times in band. We've done all these John Williams concerts and medleys and stuff, and so I could just da-da, that's me coming in. That's funny. So what is the Superman deal? Like, you have the Superman shirts, I see him up on your shelf.
Oh yeah.
What is this an obsession?
It is a little bit of an obsession. It kind of started out as this like decision fatigue thing where I got tired of trying to figure out, because as you hit middle age, you're like, do I really want to wear the cutesy flowery shit and I can't wear the stuff that the teeny boppers are wearing? Like, I just kind of felt weird about trying to find clothes that I liked. I've always been a tomboy. My husband worked on Man of Steel when it was up here in Vancouver. So I kind of became obsessed with Man of Steel. That's my favorite score. It's Hans Zimmer's score. I love Zack Snyder. A lot of people are like, oh, I hate Zack Snyder. I love Zack Snyder. I love his movies. I'm a huge fan. So I just decided, it was about 14 years ago, I just decided I am no longer going to wear regular clothes. I'm just going to buy like 10 Superman shirts. And now I have far more than 10. But if you don't see me in a Superman t-shirt, that probably means that I've been abducted. It's like a cry for help. It's like if I'm in a Batman shirt, that is a cry for help. The only exception to that is I have a few of my favorite like bookstores that I'll wear their t-shirts and like my Pride shirts. But yeah, it's either laundry day or I've been abducted. So
okay, all right. Well, that explains that.
Yeah, like it's like everywhere. People like, you're always, because people don't remember my face, but they do remember the shield. So they'll be like, you're that weird editor lady who loves Superman. I'm like, that's me. Yeah.
So you're writing, you're doing the sprints, so you make sure you write, and then you're editing.
Yes.
You have projects going on. How many editing projects can you, I don't know how this works. How many can you handle like at one time?
So usually I'll have a client, I have a stable of authors that I've been working with for years. Mm-hmm. A Scottish author named Samantha Young. She's a fantastic romance and romantic suspense writer. We've been together since like 2011. And then I edit usually one project every 2 weeks. Okay. And that gives me, and I go through each manuscript twice, and they get kind of a hybrid, like a line/copy edit, because I can't, if I see things that are wrong, I can't just leave them alone. I have to fix them. Yeah. And then some of those clients too will want like developmental feedback of, hey, what's working, what's not. So then they'll get an editorial letter. Usually that's like a new client every 2 to 3 weeks. Right now, I have a few more than one. I had kind of a scheduling hiccup. And so now I have like 3 books sitting here that I'm working on that all actually need to be done basically by Sunday. That's not going to happen. So if you're one of my clients, I love you. I'm working on your book. I promise. Yeah.
So for those of us who are not in the publishing industry.
Yes.
I mean, I was a manager, so I edited a lot of subordinates, legal writing.
Right.
But as a professional editor in the publishing industry, just give us a 1 minute what your job entails. Obviously, punctuation, grammar, spelling, all that stuff. And then do you not always look for like story continuity? Is that just sometimes if they want it? So are your assignments different, or how does that work?
So almost all of my clients will come in with a very specific list of what they want, but I do handle grammar, syntax, punctuation, all of that, which is also it happens like later in the process. Usually in the editing process, it's a developmental edit or structural edit just to get the whole thing in good shape. And then it'll be a line edit, and then a copy edit, and then a proofread. Those are usually the 4 stages that a book goes through before it hits shelves. I do a hybrid of a lot because I work with a lot of indie authors, and they don't have, $10 or $15,000 to drop on an editor, which is what that whole process will cost. So I try to condense it and provide a whole service, knowing that they're probably going to have revisions. So a manuscript will come to me. I start working on it. I read through it the first time. I do all the line editing as I go. Lots of in-document comments. I take notes so that I put them in a letter later. So when the annotated document goes back to them, they also get a letter. Unless they don't need it, because some of my regulars, they don't need that. They just need me to write an email that says, hey, the inconsistencies here, and this seemed a little bit harsh, or anything that is not going to make the story appealing to their readership, because a number of my authors have a huge readership, so they know what their readers want. And that's why I want to make sure that we keep everything. And I also work on series, so I know I can help with continuity with that too.
So I see. And this is the kind of thing that an in-house editor would do, like if you were at one of the big publishing companies, except that as an editor working for a company, you would get assigned who you're going to work with, right?
Yeah. So like at a big publishing house, they will have an acquisitions editor who will acquire the projects, the properties. They're actually buying properties from authors. And many times the acquisitions editor will also be the editor who works on the development structural part of things. And then once that's all finished and the manuscript has been accepted for publication, meaning all of the big fixes have been addressed, then the next stage would be a copy editor. And that's usually like a contractor. It used to be that they would have copy editors and proofreaders in-house, but the publishing industry has contracted significantly. And who knows what AI is going to do with all of this. Please don't take my job. Anyway, so an acquisitions editor. So as a freelance editor, I don't do any acquisitions because I don't have a house. I'm not a publishing house. But I will fix things so that when authors either want to publish themselves or start querying authors, that they can have a really professional product. Because if there's a product that I've touched and it goes out with errors, I get really mad. I'm like, who did that? So, because I'm kind of a perfectionist. It's a little Virgo thing. So.
Oh, I can relate. If a brief got filed and we later found a mistake, I'd be like,
yeah. Like,
yeah. I mean, I had one brief that went to the California Supreme Court and 6 of us read it. And there was one little thing and 6 of us missed it. And I went, how do we do that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, no book is perfect. No book is perfect. But when my authors, if they put their books out after I touched it and they've gone in and done their revisions and then no one's looked at it after they've gone back into the pudding, I'm just like, oh, why didn't you look at it again? So, I will take full responsibility for my screw ups.
Well, my problem is that my eye glazes over it. If I'm the writer and I've looked at it so many times, like my secretary would come in and she'd go, and I go, I read this like 100 times. How did I miss it? You got to have another set of eyes. I know that for sure. But
and I always recommend that my authors hire different proofreaders. Like I won't do the final proofread because I've seen it. I've seen it, 12 times. So fresh eyes.
I think your brain like autocorrects or something.
Yeah, it just goes right. And it misses a lot of things, especially, the articles or the prepositions, a to and a the, or they, a the is in place of a to, or it's funny how, and so the second round of every edit, I always listen to it. I let Microsoft Word read it to me with the read aloud function. And it's crazy how much I miss on the first pass. Cause I'm like, how did I not see that? So
I never did. That's interesting. I should have done that. I never did that when I was working. That probably would have been a great idea. Somehow put the laptop in the car and listen driving home from the office. I should have done that.
Just turned up Word and put the button. Yeah, but it's for other authors or people listening who are writers, if they're watching, then definitely use any sort of read aloud function you can, because it changes things. It's just like,
that's a great idea. Yeah. Okay, we got to talk about Rosie.
Yes, Rosie's my little. Okay, so it's so funny. I actually have a cat named Rosie too. So the book started before I got the cat, so it just happened to be.
Tell me the inspiration for this book, this story. Oh, I lost your sound.
Is that better?
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
Okay, that's weird. I just had something pop up and ask me if for hand reactions. I think that's what it was. It's the bots are watching.
They are.
Yeah, so I started writing Rosie in 2018. I wanted it to be different from the other Eliza Gordon books and like less slapstick, less, silliness. Can't even remember. Like I wanted to do something that was kind of in honor of my sister, like with some really intense issues around, you know, life and death and how we as people and siblings and how we process these things. But then I did hear about a woman in the States who had been used basically as an incubator because she was brain dead and her baby, and this was years ago. This was before the one that just happened like last year. I think I talk about it in the book, I think, in Georgia.
Right. Yes.
Anyway, so I just wanted to write something that was more important or more serious, but then I still am such a smartass that, I can't keep that part out of it. I'm trying to be a very serious writer.
Do not change your style.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I just thought that,
This
the
is a
idea of
five-star book, okay? This should be on the New York Times bestseller list. Do not change your style. I loved it. I'm recommending it to all my friends. Please don't, because it is a very serious story, but there were times when I just was sitting in my house because I live by myself, guffawing,
good.
It's, like just cracking up. And give us, okay, so you wanted to give your sister a tribute. Is she still with you?
No. She passed in 2010. So, yeah.
I lost my sister too.
Oh.
That's something else we have in common. Yeah.
Yes,
my sister died in 2013 and there was just the two of us. So I know that loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of sucky.
Yeah. It sucks a lot because she never got to see her grandchildren. So it's the pits. But anyway, so you wanted to attribute to her. But how did you come up with this job that Rosie has? Is this something that you had seen someone running that kind of business, or just something that you thought the world needed? Or where did you get the idea? Because for people who have not read it yet, Rosie has a unique business.
Yes.
She does celebrations, like end-of-life parties, basically, which I thought that is the coolest idea. So where did that come from?
I don't know, actually. I think it was more like we have some family friends who one of their children has had significant medical issues. He was born with a massive heart issue and he's actually since had a transplant. But the whole Make-A-Wish thing, like Make-A-Wish is for terminally ill children. And I thought, what about if there was something for grown-ups? But not just like here's your trip to Disneyland. It was more like you said, a party, a way to celebrate end of life, because I've been lucky in that I've had very limited exposure to people around me dying. It is starting to happen more because as I age, but
and it will keep going, believe me.
Yeah. So when my husband lost his parents in 2005, they died within 4 months of each other. That was really, it was weird. Like for me, cause they weren't my parents, but I still love them. But I was like, okay, so now they're just not here anymore. Like the idea of death. So I just started thinking about like, what would be a better way? Like when I die, I want everyone to show up in Superman t-shirts and I want to be buried in a mushroom suit, or whatever's not the least ecological damaging. Cause now we're hearing that cremation is terrible for the carbon emissions. And anyway, I don't know. I just started thinking about what would it be like if Make-A-Wish was for grownups. Yeah.
It's a great idea. I love it.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, so give us, if you were going to walk into wherever you would go to pitch this, give us, for all the people that have not read it, have not read the synopsis, give us the pitch. What is this book about?
Oh my God, I'm so bad at this. Okay. So Wish Upon a Rosie is about a medical school dropout with a complicated family history who runs a wish-granting charity for terminally ill adults until the whopper of cases walks into the ICU where she works and she has to decide how involved she is going to become in this person's life, because she knows she can help him, but she also knows that the secret she's carrying around about her family could basically destroy any friendship that is constructed between them.
Yes.
That's as close as I get.
That's a great pitch. And you didn't give away anything.
Yeah, I was like trying to be really careful. Like,
now, well, you kind of alluded to it. Can we say what the medical situation is without spoiling anything?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the medical situation is that you have a woman who is essentially not going to wake up.
Yes.
She's pregnant. And so the concerning issue is, are we going to try to keep her alive to deliver that baby?
Yes.
Which, of course, is controversial.
Very much, yeah.
And there have, like you mentioned, the one case in Georgia. And it's very much an individual decision by whoever is her decision. And of course, end of life decision making. Hello, that was my case. But that was a feeding tube. That was totally different. But the same issues arise, like the best interests of the patient, the burdens versus benefits, the costs to all involved, including the patient, you know, the risks, all of it. That's such a complicated thing. And you handle it in such a loving, I thought, compassionate manner without being judgmental.
That was what I was trying to do, because ultimately the decision is up to her brother. Because Colette, she's in this condition as a result of a car accident where she and her parents and her husband were slammed into by a drunk driver. And everyone died. Everyone in the car died except for her. And then she blew an aneurysm, and now she's in this state. So this grieving brother, Ben, he has to come in, and not only are his parents dead, and now his brother-in-law's dead, but his sister's basically going to die. And now there's this baby. So the grief on Ben is just unbelievable. But Ben he's not like so this book is only a single point of view character. It's Rosie's story. So how do I tell Ben's story without putting a separate chapter that's, hey, this is Ben's point of view? And so I tried to be successful with that. And if you like it, then I must have done something right.
No, you did. I mean, it's a very, very compelling book. In fact, I'm hoping I'm going to be away for a couple of weeks, and we've got a couple of books lined up, but I'm hoping that my in-person book club is going to read this summer. And I'm actually going to get them all copies, so they have their own copies, because I want them to read this, because, I mean, this is, if you're in a book club, kids, you got a lot to discuss here. Okay. Like you pour the wine and get busy talking, because there's a lot to talk about. Let's talk about your characters. First of all, let's talk about Rosie.
Yes.
Is she modeled after a real person, or is she completely out of your imagination? Because she's fascinating.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I mean, Rosie has always, like, it's really hard. I think a lot of writers do this. We tend to write characters that are very reflective of who we are. Like, if people who read Muscle of Otters, they're like, the people who know me say, oh my God, you are Holly. Holly is you. And she's snarky, and she's a smartass, and she is kind of terrible sometimes. But Rosie, I wanted her to not be me. I wanted her to be more compassionate and kind of like a shinier person, but also dealing with all of this crap trauma. Because, I mean, we all have trauma. And, like, Rosie's relationship with her mother is not great.
That's pretty mildly.
Yeah.
Mother's a piece of work. That's all I'm going to say. Like, oh my God.
Yes. So some of that is true to life. Like, I do not have that I don't have a great relationship with my mother. So that's just, I'm like, okay, so that's true. Like, I try to find true to life experience that is going to make the character feel real to the reader. Because I find that when you don't have things about the character that people can relate to, then it's just flat. You know, it's just these cardboard going through the motions. So, I just wanted Rosie to be real. I wanted her to be a real person and put her in a real environment and see kind of what happens.
And boy, has a person had to deal with crap. I mean, you gave her a lot.
I did. Yeah.
You gave her a messed up family, a complicated history. You gave her responsibilities that somebody in her age range really shouldn't have to bear. You gave her the mother from hell, who is a doctor in the hospital where she works. So Rosie works as a unit clerk, which I was a unit clerk in college. I know how that job goes.
I was a unit clerk for a few months. That was fun. I love
Yeah.
hospitals. I'm really weird.
Yeah. I just didn't like when they stuck me on the psych floor, but okay, that's a different discussion. Anyway,
Wow.
that we had adult and adolescent psych, and that was creative. Anyway,
That's a lot.
so she dropped out of medical school. So she's working as a unit clerk. She's trying to make a living, scraping by. And then she has a boyfriend who is also a piece of work and is a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And early in the book, you set up quite the little, what's the word I want to use? Dramatic tension. How's that? So dramatic tension that involves the boyfriend, of course. So, and then she has this best friend.
Yeah.
Who's in the hospital working, and he's in charge of the nurses. And he's just delightful. Tell us about Noah. Where did he come from? Because I'm Noah. Where's my Noah in my life?
Exactly. I want a Noah. Like I have a Noah in my life now, and I've had a few that have almost been Noahs, but like we didn't directly work together, so it was a little different. But I just wanted somebody who was a best friend no matter what. Like to me, like my favorite play of Shakespeare's is Hamlet. And my favorite part of Hamlet is Horatio, because Horatio is Hamlet's best friend and he is steady through it all. So most of my books have a Horatio-like character, and this just happens to be Noah. Plus, everybody wants a gay bestie. Like, hello.
Well,
right?
So it's like I would marry him, and we would just agree that he can go have his dalliances, and but he'd be a perfect husband.
Exactly.
I've always wanted to marry Tim Gunn. Like, is there a better husband? Can you imagine the dinner parties? And I would always look fabulous.
Yes.
And then he could go off and do whatever. I don't care.
I don't care about that part. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah. Yeah. So the head of the Federation of BC Writers, his name is Brian, and he is my Noah. So I love him.
Yeah, Noah, I'm telling you, after Rosie, Noah's the star of this book for me, because he's just fabulous.
Thank you.
Everybody needs a ride or die Noah in their life.
You have to have somebody who's there.
Like, she doesn't have enough to take care of. Then she has a neighbor that she looks after who's basically agoraphobic.
Yeah, Saga.
And she's great too. I love her.
She's a nut.
She's a nut. She's great, but she's a lovable, wonderful nut, I'm telling you, this is a great book. And then you throw in, with all these wacky characters, this huge, serious issue.
Yes.
Medical issue. And I'm like, now look, that takes a lot of skill.
Oh, thank you.
to be able to blend all of that and make this book, you made it so lighthearted in the middle of so much trauma and so much heaviness. And at the end of it, like I said in my post, if you want to feel better about life and you want to just turn off the news and, postpone your pilgrimage to Canada to escape whatever's going on. I always think I'm going to go to Norway, but I don't think they'd let me in. I don't know if I can't speak Norwegian, but anyway.
We can teach you how to speak Canadian.
I can try and learn, because I am Norwegian by my ancestors. But anyway, this is where you want to just get your blankie, your glass of wine. You want to curl up, and this is the book you want to read. And at the end, you'll go, okay, I can face tomorrow.
Oh,
this is how it made me feel. So, and that is not an easy thing to pull off. And that's why I want so many people to read this. I want people to go buy this. And so while we're on the subject, tell us where they can go buy it right now. I want them to go, well, don't hang up yet till we're done with our video, but then when you're done, go buy it and sit down with it tonight. It's Friday night. Curl up.
Yeah.
Get some Lodi wine and drink. And
please
read the book.
Yeah. If you go to my website, JenniferSommersby.com, and that's Jennifer with 2 N's and Sommersby with 2 M's. All of the buy links are there. You can buy it in paperback and ebook. I don't have an audiobook yet, but I'm working on that.
Okay.
Originally, this book was with my agent, and we were sending it out because we were trying to find a publisher for it. And then my agent had to quit agenting. So the book came back to me, and I didn't know which publishers had it. So I just decided to publish it myself through my own company, because I'm like, I can't wait anymore. And the timing on this, I just, like you said, I want people to have some hope, because everything feels really shitty right now. Yes. So yeah, it's available in print and ebook. You can buy pretty much everywhere. Pretty much everywhere. And it should be in the Barnes & Noble system. So if people walk into Barnes & Noble, it's not going to be on the shelf because shelf space is extremely limited, but you should be able to order it.
Okay, good.
But of course.
And I know they can get it from the 𝐉𝐞𝐧𝐼.
They can get it from the 𝓉𝐽𝐽. There is another company that I'm trying out. It's called books.by, B-Y, books.by. And I'm really impressed with so I still have it in the packaging, but the single book that showed up that I ordered, it's protected. So I haven't opened it yet because I was doing a video about their service, but I'm impressed. And the shipping is $5.
Okay.
So for global shipping. So we'll see.
That's
I'm going to
great.
I'm doing an in-person event on June 6th, and I have to order a ton of books. I think I'm going to try them out. So
excellent. Okay, before I let you go, a couple more questions.
Okay.
Tell me about the new series. I'm dying to read this one. When can I get my hands on an advanced copy, and then we can chat again, please, because I want to read it.
Okay, Janie, I will send you. I will definitely. By the way, your name is my best friend's name, so we're already best friends. Yes. And I have a Jane in another one of my books because she's named after my best friend Jane.
No, call me Jane if you want me to answer you. I hate that name. My mother used to go, but I named you Jane. I'm like, you goofed. Sorry, call me Janie.
Janie, yeah, I will see. And I'm Jen, because if you say Jennifer, that means I'm in trouble. And there's only certain people that get away with calling me Jenny. So. So Jen works. Yeah. So the next book, this is another one that has been finished for a few years and my agent had it. And then of course that whole situation kind of fell apart. So Freya is back in my hands, and she is the first book in a planned series of 6. And it's about the Hendry family, 6 sisters. All of them work in different fields. So it's family dynamics, like a family saga kind of thing. Lots of drama, some romance. This first book has some romantic suspense themes to it, more on the suspense and less on the romance. I just really wanted to blow some shit up, so I do. And it is my first time writing a dual POV. So it's got the main character, Freya, and then also the point of view from Kent, who is the other. And absolutely everybody said, wait, why would she choose the name Kent? Yes, it's because of Clark Kent. all of my books have Easter eggs in them, all of them. And I'm obsessed with Superman. So yeah, I would love to send you a copy when it's ready, like soon, because I'm super nervous about this book. Because it's like way different from anything I've written. And I'm like, what if it sucks? What if it sucks?
I want to read it, and then we can talk about it, because I just saw the blurb on your website, and I went, I have to have this.
Oh, thank you.
And now that you told me it's about sisters, I really have to have it, because, I love books about sisters, because I could write a doctoral thesis, on.
Yeah.
Mine was 8 years older than me, so it was like having 2 mothers.
Yep.
And she was a perfectionist and very bossy. Yes, you were bossy.
And like my daughter.
So it's like, I love those kinds of stories because it's just, I can relate to them.
Yeah, okay. And Freya is very much that. She's the oldest, and she's a doctor. I have a thing for hospitals and doctors just because of my growing up in a hospital with my sister having surgeries all the time. It was just like another home. So
we have 26 seconds remaining. What?
Okay. What?
I thought I was supposed to have 4 hours. Okay, listen, I have loved talking to you.
Me too. This has been amazing.
I know. And I'm going to post this video all over the place, and I want everybody that wasn't here live to go watch it and buy the book.
Thank you.
By Wish Upon a Rosie. And Jenn, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. This has been amazing. Anytime you want to do this, I'm game.